Before we get into this special weekend edition of Just the Truth, let me tell you about the latest special from Michael and Dale at MyPillow. The standard MyPillow, normally $49.98 for a limited time only, just $14.88 with promo code Joey. Go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, and see all the specials. There's a limited quantity of just 10 at this special price. That's $14.88 with promo code Joey. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you happen to find a stray pet in your neighborhood, there's a new simple way to get that pet home faster. The Greenville Humane Society has installed a public roadside microchip scanning station right outside its adoption center at 305 Airport Road in Greenville. It's available 24/7, 365 days out of the year with step-by-step instructions, lost pet resources, and a community bulletin board for events and updates. Beyond the scanner, GHS continues its core work, their spay and neuter program, an affordable vaccine clinic, and so many other services so that families can keep pets healthy without breaking the bank. Joining us now, Rachel Delport, the CEO of the Greenville Humane Society. Rachel, welcome.
Thank you so much, Joey. Glad to be here.
Well, thanks for your time. So walk us through using the new roadside scanner, as far as parking, how to scan, what to do when a chip number pops up, maybe safety tips with Good Samaritans who are trying to get a pet back home.
Definitely. So, one, come see us. So it is located right here at 305 Airport Road where our shelter is today. And you can pull up right on the side of the road, grab the animal that you have. If you have a dog, please make sure you have a leash, a cat if you're able to, having a carrier. So once you get out of your vehicle, the animal does not get away. Once you come to the station, it's very simple. We've got step-by-step instructions on how to use it, but ultimately you're going to grab the scanner that's in a nice waterproof box. You're going to turn it on and scan the animal. We always say you want to scan every single top and bottom of the animal because if they are microchipped, at times the microchip can migrate.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Yes, it can.
Really?
It can. So most people, the microchip is actually entered right between the shoulder blades of the skin. Right. So we always say start there, but over time it can migrate. So we say scan all over the animal just to be safe.
Interesting.
If that animal has a microchip, it's going to pop up with that number immediately, and then you'll be able to follow the step-by-step instructions that say it has a microchip. If the animal doesn't have a microchip, we also then have step-by-step instructions on what to do next based off of our area here in Greenville.
Yeah. Rachel Delport is with me today. We're talking about the Greenville Humane Society's 24/7, 365 chip reader there. All right, so since the station is open 24/7, what happens if someone literally is there at midnight? I mean, how's that process work? Who gets notified? Or you're literally waking somebody up if you potentially reach out to contact them?
So obviously at that time, if the animal has a microchip, the nice thing is you can enter that into the database. We have a link that goes straight to that. So using your phone, you'll be able to get in contact with them and get that information. Obviously, if it's after hours, we do ask that individuals, take the animal home, find a safe place for them if they're not able to bring them into their house. Mm-hmm. But being able to then next thing in the morning follow those instructions. So we tell individuals take a picture with your phone so you have that information and can do that the following morning. But yeah, if it's at midnight, obviously it's difficult to be able to follow some of those steps, but you are still able to use the microchip scanner, find out if it does in fact have a microchip or does not, and then can follow those step-by-step instructions, based off of that finding.
Yeah. Let's talk for a minute, Rachel, about that chip. Because I think there are some misconceptions out there about chips. When you have your pet microchipped, is that automatically registered?
So, yes, essentially once the animal is microchipped, it is automatically registered at that time. So every single animal that comes into the Greenville Humane Society prior to going to the adoption floor, they are microchipped upon intake. So at that time, that microchip is registered to us as the owner. And if an individual comes in to adopt that animal at the time of adoption, when we submit that within our database, it automatically transfers the ownership to the microchip to the new owner. So if you get a microchip at a vet's office as well, they should be registering that for you. If for any reason you have any questions or concerns about that, we do highly recommend that you ask, as some clinics do that a little bit differently. But ultimately, at the time of getting a microchip, part of entering that into the database ensures that your information is connected to that microchip.
Is there a way that a pet owner can see what information is in there? Let's say they have moved once or twice since they initially had their pet chipped. Is there a way that an owner can check to see what information is out there?
There definitely is, and we tell everybody just how important that is because people do move. Your numbers may change, and we want to make sure that information is correct at every given point in time in that animal's life. So we here at the Greenville Humane Society, we use 24 Pet Watch for all of our microchips, but you want to make sure if your animal has a microchip, number one is to find out what company it's with. Once you figure out the company, you can then go to their website. There's a way to be able to then put your microchip information in and ensure what information is attached to that. If anything is to change over time, you do want to make sure you go back to the microchip website, you change that information, and that it is up to date at all times.
Yeah. With me today, Rachel Delport, the CEO of the Greenville Humane Society. For additional information about the great work that they're doing there, just visit their website, greenvillehumane.com, greenvillehumane.com. Now, Rachel, again, I applaud you for doing this scanning station. Obviously, it costs money to do so, and it was made possible by some great sponsors. You want to do a shout out to your sponsors?
I definitely do. This would not be possible without individuals from the community who continue to support our mission and see the importance of the work that we do. And so starting out, the actual structure was built by the construction department at Donaldson Career Center. So these are high school students who took the time to build this structure and to see the overall importance that this gives to our community and the animals that we love in the Greenville area. And next to that, to be able to add all the added components to that, we had Cleveland Park Animal Hospital who donated to this. We had NextGuard Plus, Elanco, and then we had 24 Pet Watch that came in alongside us and donated 75 microchips for us to give out free to our community.
Wow, that is great. Well, thanks to these sponsors for making this possible, because it helps the whole community. I mean, it is a public service for sure. So if you have a chance to support these sponsors, please do so. Let's talk for a minute, Rachel. Obviously, this is one component of what you guys do, but you do a lot of things at Greenville Humane. So I want to just kind of dig a little deeper on and give us your elevator speech, if you will, about the Greenville Humane Society.
That's perfect. So the Greenville Humane Society, it is our mission to preserve the lives and enhance the well-being of animals. And we do that in multiple different aspects. When people think of the Greenville Humane Society, the first thing that comes to their mind is adoption. And it's adopting pets. And there are so many unwanted pets in our area in the Southeast, in the community, that are really looking for their forever homes. And that is a big focus area of ours. Outside of adoption, though, we really want to focus on the well-being of our animals, physically, mentally, and emotionally. We obviously do that in a lot of different ways here at the shelter, but we also offer services to our community, our vaccine clinic, our spay and neuter clinic, those essential preventative cares to ensure that we are taking care of pets for life. Once they leave our facility, they're still a part of our family, and we want to ensure that we're able to support our community in caring for them for the longevity of their livelihoods.
Yeah. Talk with me about some of the numbers. How many adoptions do you do every year?
Yeah, so the past few years, we've adopted out consistently about 4,500 animals a year.
Wow.
Which is a large number. It is one of the largest here in the Southeast. And, aside from that, every single year we're doing about 88,000 vaccines for the community through the animals coming into our care, but animals also here in Greenville that are using our vaccine clinic. And, probably one of the most impressive things, too, that still kind of blows my mind, actually, when I think about it, is that need for spaying and neutering. And ultimately it is. It's a prime component to ensure that we are decreasing the amount of unwanted animals that are coming to shelters that are unfortunately being euthanized in some areas just because of the overwhelming, just amount of space. It's not there. And so with spay and neuters, we're doing anywhere from 16 to 17,000 spay and neuters every single year, and that's been consistent over the last 4 to 5 years.
So do you have vets on your staff who do this, or do community vets come in and help you with this? How does that process work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we actually have a few staff on site who do help us with this, but we have a lot of vets just in the community who come and love to be able to help support this and doing spay and neuter and seeing the importance of that. So we have a team of about 12 vets that help us ensure we get this done. Typically, we have 3 to 4 vets a day, Monday through Friday, who are working on this spay and neuter service. And we are spaying anywhere from 60 to 100 animals per day.
Wow. That's a lot. I still haven't gotten past the 88,000 vaccines. I mean, that is a big number.
It is a big number.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I mean, anyone can bring their pet to you for these services. Is that right?
That is right. Anyone in the Greenville community, connecting areas in our state, they're able to come and use our vaccine clinic, use our spay and neuter clinic as well. That is what it's for. And we understand that, especially in today's world and the economy, it's hard to afford some of these things. So everything is low cost. There's no exam fee. It's essentially being able to pay for the service that you are receiving. And we want to make sure that it is affordable and it is high quality care. That is the biggest importance for us in doing all of this.
Yeah. Rachel Delport is my guest today. She's CEO of the Greenville Humane Society. Again, you can find out all the information you need to know about Greenville Humane Society at greenvillehumane.com, greenvillehumane.com. And Rachel, I suspect there's probably a donate button on that site that people can click, right?
Oh, definitely. And let me tell you, our mission would not be possible without our community. And so I tell everybody all the time, whether it's $1, whether it's $100, whether it's more than that, you're making such an impact on the work that we do, the animals that we see and care for, and each one of you in our community who have loving pets that you want to take care of for their life.
Yeah. Well, that's you have to just really enjoy your job. I mean, I can't think of anything I'd rather do than to help pets all day long.
It is, I'm telling you, the most rewarding thing that I feel like I have been able to do in my life. I love what I do. I love the people that I work with, and just being able to change the lives of animals. I honestly couldn't tell you anything better.
Yeah. Now, we talked about, obviously, it takes money to operate, but I would imagine that there's probably an opportunity for volunteers as well. Is that a fair assessment?
That is very, very much a fair assessment. It takes an army. I tell you, it takes a lot of people, dedicated people, day in and day out, to be able to accomplish what we do on a daily basis. And we love volunteers. We welcome them all to get involved, be a part of making this mission possible. And please know, we have a lot of fun while doing it.
Yeah. All right. One final question for you. What would you say your biggest challenge is?
Whoa. I think the biggest challenge in today's economy, it comes down to cost. All the things that we do, it is expensive, and we want to make sure that we are also able to ensure that it's affordable for our community. And so it's donors. It's donating to be able to keep those costs low, and for us to be able to function at the high volume and quality that we do every single day. And so, whether it's monetary donations, whether it's volunteering your time, whether it's donating items off of our wish list, taking a dog out for a day, coming and visiting, each person can be a part of making our mission possible.
Yeah. So quickly tell me, what's on that wish list?
On our wish list, we have so many things you could only imagine. So things that we use on a daily basis. Laundry detergent. We do over 120 loads of laundry a day. Dawn detergent, washing dishes. We can wash anywhere from 300 to 900 dishes per day. Things in your house. So if you have towels you can't use anymore, if you have toys that your dog doesn't like anymore, we can use those. Newspaper. That's what we use to line all of our kennels. Cleaning supplies, paper towels. There's so many things that are on that general wish list, and we have a fun Amazon wish list as well. So if you like shopping on Amazon, just add it to your cart. It ships right to us. So whatever you feel led, and the easiest way to make it, we tried to give as many options as possible, but there's so many items on that donation list that really make our day-to-day work so much easier.
Yeah. And again, that website is greenvillehumane.com, greenvillehumane.com. Rachel, been a pleasure having you on with me today. Thank you for what you do in our community. And look, I want to come by and just drop in on you one day and check things out.
Hey, I would absolutely love that. And thank you so much for the opportunity and showcasing the work of what we do here in Greenville, South Carolina.
Sure thing. It's been a pleasure. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Rise Prevention is a nonprofit organization with the mission of building a drug-free generation. I got a number I want to share with you. 72%. 72% of teens turn to drugs before high school graduation. That number should bother everyone. On our guest line today, Martine Hello Allen, Executive Director and founder of Rise Prevention, and Scott Mason, Program Director of the Beyond Genesis. Scott, Martine, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Let's just start, Martine, and just give us a quick summary of Rise Prevention, the need, and why you started such an organization.
So, yes, you had mentioned that statistic of 72% of high schoolers. I mean, that is the reason why we do what we do, because we want to see that number plummet. There's no reason why that many teens are getting into substance use or even experimenting with substances by the time that they're a senior in high school. It's detrimental for them, and it's detrimental for our society. So Rise Prevention exists for the mission of inspiring and equipping youth to rise above the influence of substance use and addiction. Ultimately, just wanting them to live their best lives. I mean, and we love them into greatness. We help them understand what addiction is really about, the science of it, but also we approach it from the heart. We approach it from our conviction that in order to turn this tide, you've got to get to the root of why are these young people self-medicating.
Yeah. Scott, talk with us a little, just sort of an introduction of your role at Rise.
Yes. So I help a lot with our iRise program, which is in middle schools. We serve many schools in the upstate and surrounding counties. And so I make sure that the program runs as smoothly as it's supposed to, make sure all the events happen as they're supposed to. But I don't do just that. I also work, as you mentioned at the top, with the Beyond Genesis 3 program, because we take a lot of the resources and the knowledge of what we do, the science behind it, and we package that in a faith-based program for churches, other faith-based organizations, and other nonprofits. So it's an amazing opportunity to work with youth, both in the public school setting and in the churches.
Yeah. Martine, your website has some pretty interesting statistics. 85% of students who participate in the RISE program say it makes them want to live drug-free. What is keeping us from having every kid in the school system complete your program?
Joey, if you could find out that answer, I would give you $1 million. I think it's, we also have to understand Rise Prevention is a public health organization. We are not an education organization. Our program is not delivered via a curriculum per se. And so I think that schools sometimes have a lot of pressure on them to fulfill academic requirements and standards from the state. They've got benchmarks that they need to achieve. And I also think it's just sheer knowledge, maybe of the lack of knowledge of our program, and how what we do can also have a very positive impact on those benchmarks that principals and administrations and districts are asked to meet by the state. So I think it's just a matter of getting more of the word out there about what we do and showing them how, yes, we work on addiction and, drug and addiction prevention for youth, but that has a positive correlation, which we see in all kinds of studies, to helping the overall individual, the overall student, by way of academic performance is increased, truancy is decreased, violence is decreased, all of those other factors that are also positively impacted. But I do think it's a matter of priority and it's a matter of awareness.
Yep. With me today, Martine Hellu-Allen, Executive Director of RISE Prevention, and Scott Mason, Program Director of Beyond Genesis 3. For additional information, find them on their website, riseprevention.org, riseprevention.org. You can help by donating because it does take money to run these type programs, volunteering. And Martine, if someone who's listening today, a parent or grandparent or someone who's just interested in having RISE in their child's school, what's the process?
The process is it's a little tricky, but our parents are our best advocates. So when parents approach schools and say, hey, I love this iRISE program, would love to have it in our school, them advocating for that is that first crucial step to getting the administration interested in what we're doing, having them reach out, and then we work with them in regards to their specific school district as to how that process will work for us to gain an MOU or permission, if you would, if necessary, to get into that school. It's very, very easy. We do not charge, so that's a limitation and a barrier that does not exist with our program, and schools are really happy about that. Schools are also happy about other features of the program, but parents really play a critical role in initiating that conversation.
Yeah. Scott, let's take a minute here and talk with us about Beyond Genesis 3. Tell us what that is.
Yes, so Beyond Genesis 3, the idea behind that is, as I mentioned earlier, taking what we do with RISE Prevention, the knowledge we have, the science behind addiction, and packaging that for faith-based organizations and churches. Our tagline is that it's where the science of addiction meets the power of Christ. We know Christ has a lot to say about overcoming addiction, overcoming the things that we struggle with. And, unfortunately, these struggles with addictions, these things our youth faces, these challenges, it's felt by the community and society as a whole. It's felt by local communities. And so for us to say or act like it's not felt by the churches or that it doesn't affect the church, unfortunately is sticking our head in the sand a little bit. And so what we do, because we also understand that for an organization, for a pastor to come up and talk about substance use and drugs, it's kind of a hard conversation to have. But we also understand statistically the majority of pastors surveyed would say that they either know someone in their congregation that is dealing with a substance use disorder or that they are personally affected by someone in their family with one. We understand that conversation needs to be had. And so what we do at RISE Prevention through our Beyond Genesis 3 program is we kind of help supplement that conversation and get that conversation going within the church. And so we talk about the dangers of addiction. We talk about how that affects us. We talk about how that affects our relationship with Christ. We offer presentations. We offer Bible studies. We offer youth group games, times where we come out and run a youth group and have a time where we can have group discussions and really just get that conversation started. But we don't like to get the conversation started and walk away and say, all right, now you deal with the fallout of what those conversations lead. We'll stick around and help guide and be a resource for whatever doors open up when those conversations get started.
RISE Prevention, what an amazing program. Appreciate what you do. Wish we had more time, but we'll have you back again real soon.
Thank you, Joey. We so appreciate your constant support and your belief in what we do. Thank you.
Joining me on our guest line, Matt Wills, Vice President of Government Affairs with the Greenville Chamber. Welcome, Matt. Good to have you again.
Thanks for having me, Joey. Well, I'm glad to be back.
Well, as we are kind of in the fall season now, although our temperature would not suggest that, but we're starting to think about the legislature going back to Columbia in January. Of course, they're involved in committee work right now, and honestly, that's where most of the work is done. But let's talk a bit about the Greenville Chamber and what you guys are looking at going into 2026.
Certainly. Yeah, I think our stage was set, back in May for this coming January when we go back into session. But I think some of the major pieces that we're kind of looking at, and from our perspective, from an economic development side, as well as just continued business growth in our region, looking at modernizing transportation efforts in this state, and making sure our roads are getting up to par and keeping up with traffic and demand. No pun intended there, but just making sure that we're getting the infrastructure in place that's needed for the continued growth that we're seeing.
Yeah. Now that is a hot topic. I'm not sure that I'm ever anywhere in a room with people that roads do not come up. And just yesterday, actually, my wife and I we live out in Greer. So we often get on 85 to come downtown to Greenville, and we're right at Highway 14, and that's that little bottleneck that they spent years trying to fix, but it's no better than it was. It just makes no sense.
Well, I think one of the perspectives I think that sometimes that folks forget and that I'm constantly reminded of from when we talk to officials at DOT is, we could have a 14-lane highway in certain places, and it would still be bottlenecked in certain places because of the amount of traffic that is coming from X, Y, or Z place.
Yep.
And that road between 14 and Pelham and then 385, man, that's just it's one of those places that prepare to slow down 100% of the time you're on that road. It's one of those places that you really you can't avoid, but you want to no matter what.
Yep.
But I think one of the things that's fascinating to me about the process that's going on right now is not necessarily the what we see when we see road improvements, when we see the roads or lanes being blocked and work actually being done, roads being milled and then repaved or stuff like that. I think what mostly we're talking about is speeding up the process that's behind the scenes, in procurement and making sure our RFPs are in place to get these things sped up and impact studies and stuff like that. Making sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed before they even get on the road, before they put these out for bid for these companies to take care of this stuff. I think that is the biggest piece that we're looking at right now.
Yep.
That it was going to speed up that process of stuff we actually see on the road.
Sure, exactly. Matt Wills is with me today with the Greenville Chamber. Matt, let's revisit some of the issues that you and I talked about back in the spring during the session. One of the top issues, of course, was tort reform, the liquor liability issue. There was a bill that was passed. There's more work to be done on that. And I know that it has not totally gone into effect, but is there any sign that maybe insurance companies saw what the state did and what they're attempting to do, and they may start taking some rate action? Or is this just a case of where the loss experience is going to have to prove to them that things have changed?
Well, I think it's kind of twofold there, right? I think insurance companies want to see the action that the legislature took, see what it does to the market when it goes into effect in January with on-premise consumption and restaurants and bars that are serving alcohol, and then obviously some of the tort reform that we saw in a very limited space on that front. But I think one of the biggest things that we've heard, and we've actually heard from insurance companies now, is the market in South Carolina is messed up, is in a poor place because of the liability laws that are in place in the state. It's something that I think Director Wise at insurance at the insurance agency in the state stated to the committees that he was able to speak to, but they heard directly from insurance companies saying the liability market is what's continue to drive cost up in this state, and we did very, very little to address liability in this state, and that's one of the things that really needs to be addressed as we go forward. And I'm hopeful that is going to be taken seriously and taken up in a meaningful way. Yeah. We are going to fight an uphill battle on the liability front with the trial lawyers. We know that. We should have been prepared last term. We weren't. I don't think we will be caught off guard in that manner again.
Yep. This has been a fairly busy time for me. I've been involved in a number of forums. Of course, we're already in the middle of a governor's race for next year. 5 candidates filed to run. One of the big issues that always comes up, and I've moderated a number of forums in the past few weeks, is income tax. And you and I talked about that quite a bit. There's a discussion, we have some legislators who say we're going to totally eliminate it. We're not there yet. Talk about the chamber's position on income tax reduction and where you think we'll head with that.
So the chamber's perspective on income tax is that it's too high. It's always been too high, and it needs to be lower. I don't think that's any bit of a shocker to anyone from that perspective. But I think what we're looking at least from the standpoint of what we saw, presented in the House of Representatives this past session earlier this year, was a start. I think it's a great place to start a conversation. Obviously, it's got to go through the Senate as well, and then obviously it's got to get to the governor's desk. But I think there's a lot of work yet to be done as to the specifics on things. And there's a lot of specifics to those things. We saw a very bad bill initially. We got it better. I don't think it's perfect yet, but I think the work ahead is certainly going to move in that direction and make us more competitive on that front with our regional neighbors.
Sure. Matt Wills, Vice President of Government Affairs with the Greenville Chamber. Always a pleasure. Appreciate what you do, and we'll check back in with you soon.
Certainly look forward to it.
That's it for this special weekend edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss Studios. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined my mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, join me on my YouTube channel. Be sure and like, comment, and subscribe. Just search for Joey Hudson. As always, thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Do me a favor and forward this episode to a few friends. Just click on the share button and send to your contacts. We need to build an army of conservatives to win our country back, and we can do that by continuing to share the truth with our friends and family. Keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line 864-477-JOEY. Email to joey@joeyhudson.com, and I love your messages on the MyPillow message line. Again, that's 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Be sure and take advantage of the MyPillow special, just $14.88 on the standard MyPillows when you use promo code Joey. Order online at mypillow.com or call 800-893-4053. We're back again tomorrow and hope you'll plan to join us. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.